Hello everyone. Today I'm going to show you how you enable GuardDuty with Cloudformation, which is infrastructure as code, which you can use through the console in AWS. So first, what we need to do is get some kind of code editor where you can write your Cloudformation document. For your Cloudformation document, you can write in either YAML, which I'm using here. This is the syntax and structure, but you can also use JSON. Personally, though, I prefer YAML. I think it's cleaner, but either goes. So this is the base document. What it does is you have the parameter here. This enables us to be able to provide this value at the runtime, well, not at runtime, at deployment time. And here we have the resource section where we have the GuardDuty detector, which is the element that we actually need to create to be able to enable GuardDuty. A very simple document. This is pretty much the most basic you can go for a document enabling GuardDuty. So let's try use it in AWS and actually show it in action. What we need to do is go to Cloudformation, create stack, upload a template file, choose file, pick the file, go next, give it a stack name. I'll call it GuardDuty enabler. Here's the parameter. You can see this is the one we decided here, which is super cool with the parameter section. You can all the parameters you define here in the document, you'll be able to provide. They will show up here when you execute the document in the console, which is super cool. You see here, I'm able to this drop down here. Select between true and false, but it could be anything. I mean, true and false is because I told it that it was the allowed values. It can be just an empty string, or it can be a number, a boolean, or whatever you want. I need to select true though, because that means we will actually enable GuardDuty. If we select false, it will disable it. Next, we just leave all this as default. Go next again. Yeah, create stack. That's it. And let's watch it deploy. So here you can see this is the Cloud Foundation. Yeah, I guess you can. I don't know what this place is actually called, but you can watch the progress here of the deployment. You see for this element, say create in progress. But if we update it, it will probably be done. Yeah. So and then it starts on the next elements. This will not take long, but if you have a huge document that will provide provision a whole environment with a lot of machines and network resources and stuff like that, it can take a long time, and it's very nice to be able to follow how long it gets in this document. By you can see all these status. Let's see. Great. All right. The GuardDuty enabler. Create complete. GuardDuty detector. Create complete. And this is our two elements. So it should be ready. Let's go to GuardDuty and see if it has actually been provisioned. GuardDuty. Alright, this is actually what a GuardDuty looks like when it is enabled. I actually forgot to show you how it looks before, but I will do that afterwards where we'll try to disable it. Okay, so this is basically it. Here there's usually a list of all the events that has happened, but because it's just recently enabled, there's nothing that has been triggered yet. But there's this awesome feature. Let me see if I can remember where it is. Settings maybe. Yeah, sample findings. We can generate sample findings, and which then it will list as if all the possible events that will trigger GuardDuty has happened. So if we go, you can see here, and all of these are what are potentially and possibly very likely malicious events. Like for instance, like port scans. It's not something that should happen. It's usually part of reconnaissance from hackers and people like that. And denial of service is not really something you would do in a production environment as well. I mean, you don't really have too many positive use cases. I guess a port scan can be used in a good way to debug your environment, something like that. But most of these are clear-cut proofs that there's something shady is going on. I mean, Bitcoin tools, all this, and yeah. If you want to read more about these, you can just click one, and it will actually tell you here what the event entails. Like, for instance, for this one, it's something about credentials being used maliciously, I guess, or used outside of what the expected pattern are. Some of the others here are maybe a bit more obvious. Like, for instance, this one, it sometimes triggers myself when I like to scan my instances that are in production. It triggers on Kali Linux occurrences where Kali Linux is this offensive penetration testing operating system you can use to scan and hack environments. It's very good to use on your own environment to test if they have any vulnerabilities. But obviously, this should trigger by GuardDuty because it is a very, very, very alerting occurrence if it happens and it's not yourself doing it. So yeah, let's see if there's anything else we need to look. User permissions maybe. I guess yeah, changes makes sense, but it's only yellow though. What's really important here is the red ones. You can sort by the red ones if you go click here. And these are the severity level high. And these are what should pretty much always trigger some kind of counter response. Like you should probably set up alerting so if any of these events happen, you will get an email on SMS notification, something like that. So you're able to respond very quickly. Anyway, let's try to trigger one of these events. One of the easier ones I personally find is there's one for S3 logging. Okay, we cannot filter by that apparently. Let's see if I can find it. Oh well, never mind. It will show up when we trigger it anyway. So we go to S3, and what we do is we disable logging on a bucket because apparently that is considered a risky enough event that it should trigger in GuardDuty. Let's see, I have a bucket here that we can use. This one. Go to properties, server access logging, and because it's not enabled, we need to enable it first. Just pick something, save. All right, let's disable it again, save. So if it works as intended, GuardDuty will now show. I guess probably will not show it yet because there's like a 15-minute delay before it will show up. So I'm gonna pause the video and return in 15 minutes and we will see if it actually shows. All right, let's see if our events is showing up. Let's update. Yeah, here you see the S3 server access logging disabled event is showing up, so it is working as expected. So basically that is it. There's a lot of other cool stuff you can do with GuardDuty, and you would probably want to implement it with your other services as well, like for instance some alerting or some monitoring dashboards, something like that. But for the most basic GuardDuty setup, this is basically it, and pretty useful actually, even in this form. So let's see what it looks like when it's not enabled. And to do that, we need to go to, well, we can disable it here if we want to, but the proper way, the normal way is here, but because we created it with the CloudFormation, we actually need to navigate to CloudFormation and just uh, highlight this stack that included the GuardDuty enabler, delete, because this makes sure that every other resource that we have in this stack is also being deleted probably, which I guess doesn't matter too much since the document is super simple, but in a document with like tens, maybe even hundreds of elements, it's a very cumbersome to, and it's very error prone if you need to go around and delete every element individually. If you just delete the stack, it will also delete every element in the stack, and you make sure that nothing is left behind or yeah. So this is definitely the right way to do it if you use CloudFormation. So anyway, delete is in progress. Let's update it to see. Okay, done. Let's navigate to GuardDuty. And this is what it looks like when it's disabled. This is the base, where you can also just get started here and enable it through the form. But I think it's a lot more fun to do it with code, because code is reusable and there's a better overview and many other advantages to do it with CloudFormation and infrastructure as code. So yeah. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you. Have a nice day.